ask you to please stay quiet during that process. And we have questions, answers, visits, fellowship after the service, where you can ask questions, you can share thoughts, ideas, and you can share any impact that Kelly's talk has had on you with her. So welcome, Kelly. And Kelly will be talking to us. Reverend Kelly Isola. I'm very familiar with her. She's a good friend. And she's going to be talking to us about the title of her talk, When Our Tears Feed the World. I'm not sure exactly what that's about, but it's an intriguing title. So I'm going to stop share and let you know a little bit more about her. She is passionate about supporting people and organizations to live and love more authentically, to move towards a better version of themselves, and to move towards making their mark on the world. She's masterful at relating concepts across her various life experiences, which allows her to connect with and support audiences from all walks of life. So welcome back, Rev Kelly. Good to have you here.
Always good to be here. Little party going on there. First thing I want to say is, yes, International Women's Day, and loved what you read, and including those who identify as a woman or a girl, which did not make it into the reading, so I'm adding it just to kind of expand our awareness. And that actually, in a little kind of way will connect to what I'm talking about today, because there have been a lot of tears shed for those who have spent their life working towards identifying as a woman, as transgender, and anyway. So yes, when our tears feed the world, you probably got to wonder, what the heck is that about? As Cheryl said, but have I ever given you a title that was not a little intriguing or makes you go, what is that? If I don't, otherwise it's no fun. There's thousands and thousands of boring talk titles out there. I want a title that's going to make you go, I wonder what she's going to talk about. And it's also like an affirmation that you can repeat over and over. So if you remember nothing else from today, just remember that really our tears feed the world, and I'm going to explain that, but our tears are generosity in motion. And that will make more sense as I go along. And I want to start with a story that that I heard long ago, and it lives in me all the time when I'm crying, when someone else is crying, tears of joy, tears of sadness, whatever the tears are. And it comes from from a National Geographic or some kind of nature show, because I'm pretty nerdy, like math, science, and if there's a word, I love the etymology of language, words. Most of us assume we know what a word means until you go look at the etymology, its roots and all, and then we're like, so this story comes from the Amazon rainforest, and it's about butterflies. It's about turtles and tears, of course. So there are butterflies in the Amazon that drink the tears of turtles. Yes, you heard me. There's butterflies in the Amazon that drink the tears of turtles. What they do is the butterflies come, they're flitting about, and the turtles come out of the water to the log, to the shore, whatever, and the butterflies come fluttering down and land gently on the turtles, on the faces of the turtles, and with their itty bitty tiny little butterfly tongues, they sip the tears right from the eyes of the turtles. And it's not because the butterflies are strange. It's not because they've smoked something weird. they're not attacking the turtles. They're not doing anything at all except caring for themselves because they need, like us and most life, needs salt to survive. And it's pretty much the only place that they can find it is in the tears of another, which is the turtles. Salt is very rare in the Amazon rainforest. So this is what the butterflies do. And here's the best part of it. The turtles don't resist. They just kind of sit there and they allow it. They might blink. They might, take a breath here and there. But for the most part, they just let it happen. I think there's probably used to, oh, here comes the butterflies. They're going to land on my face and drink my tears. So what can look like sorrow, right? Tears often look like sorrow, really becomes sustenance. Now, I'm not suggesting the turtles are in sorrow, but if we sort of shift that to humanity, oftentimes tears are sorrow. Of course, there's tears of happiness. And in this case, I'm narrowing it to just sorrow. But those tears become sustenance. So what overflows from one life becomes nourishment for another. And in this case, so the turtles, what overflows from the turtles becomes nourishment for the butterflies. And the first time I heard that story, I thought, well, if we were honest with ourselves, isn't that what we're all doing? I think so. Aren't we all in one way or another trying to live in this holy exchange of giving and receiving, which is not two sides of the same coin? You can't separate them, right? Giving, receiving. It's like one word. We are living in that holy exchange, that one sorrow nourishes the other, and we're being healed by someone's tears, by someone else's tears. I'm not talking about our own. I think we've heard that before, to let it out, to cry, that, crying is healing. And I'm going to come back to that one. But this is why I said at the beginning is that my tears are generosity in motion, because when I cry, that's emotion there. And I'm generously giving, right? My tears are feeding the world. My tears are feeding another, whether I know it or not. When I first heard about this, there's actually a word for it. It's called lacrophagy. Like I said, I'm a word nerd. And it literally means tear feeding. And I thought, there's actually a word for this. So it's a whole lot. If there's really a word for it, it's a lot bigger than I might imagine. And I was really quite surprised to find that there was a word. One, because I like Scrabble, and if you can get enough letters going, lacrophagy makes a really good Scrabble word. But also just because I'm a word nerd. But it really felt like, this idea of the butterflies coming down and feeding on the tears of the turtles, it really felt like a living parable, right? Tears are made up of water and salt. And isn't that the essence of Earth? The planet we're on, Earth and the sea, water, salt from Earth, water from the sea. Tears come when something inside us can't stay contained, right? Think about the last time that you cried, the last time that, whatever the reason for the tears, but it was because something inside you couldn't stay contained. Although we have, I can't speak for Canada, but I can tell you in US culture, we have unfortunately been taught very well how to not allow, how to keep that contained as tightly as possible, rather than allow the body to tell the truth about an experience, which we do through tears. It's how the soul hydrates the heart, right? That's when the more we stuff those, the more brittle, the harder our heart becomes. I think not that we become hard-hearted and mean and nasty, but I think, understanding that unless we are, right, that generosity in motion, that we build up this wall. So what if our tears, the ones we hide, I'm going to confess to this. I've hidden tears a time or two in my life, and you can feel free to raise your hand or not. But I'm pretty sure, even if you don't, thank you, Heather. Even if you don't, thank you, Cheryl. I know I'm not the only one. And it's not just Heather and Cheryl either, that probably most of us. And whether, it's there's tears we hide, and then there's the one that makes me absolutely crazy, that when people apologize for their tears. Have you ever been in a conversation with somebody, and maybe you've done this, but thinking of the other person, and all of a sudden you can see their eyes are getting kind of watery, and they're getting a little choked up, and maybe something starts to leak out of their eyes, and all of a sudden they go, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and I'm like, "For what?" Your body is telling the truth about something. Your body cannot contain what the tears are trying to say. It's not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of failure. Rather, it's an offering, right? Our tears feed the world. What if your tears were food for the soul of the world? What if they keep compassion alive? We talk about compassion very often as something nice, and that there's, I don't even know what the words I'm looking for. And compassion takes a lot of different faces, has a lot of different forms. So what if the tears keep compassion alive, right? Because they're nourishment for another. Is that not what compassion is? So remember, keep this in mind. If you take nothing else away from today, know that my tears are generosity in motion. My tears are generosity in motion. And this matters because, as I said, here in the US, we live in a culture that hides sorrow. We say, "I'm fine," when we're anything but. We rush in to fix the pain. We want to patch it over. We want to smooth it over. And sometimes we do that by like this little, it's like letting just a little bit of pressure, a little bit of steam out. Like the tears start to come and you let a little bit out, but then you got to shut it down. "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm making you uncomfortable," or I didn't know I was going to be crying," or "I didn't mean to do this." And blah, 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 blah. Ah, in case you couldn't tell, it makes me crazy because I know the truth of you. I know that your body is trying to say, "Let me feed the world with my sorrow, with my tears." That your body, your soul, all of you is saying, "Let me nourish. Please let me nourish the world. Don't shut it off." But the brain is like, "No, no, gotta stop it, gotta smooth it over, right? Everybody's gotta be comfortable." But the tears remind us that we are connected, we are alive, we're porous, right? They dissolve. Remember that hard shell I was talking about around the heart? They dissolve that and then reconnect us to each other. And they reconnect us because we're nourishing someone else. You ever been in a room or a retreat or a meeting or something, and maybe you're the one who's done this, but all of a sudden one person's tears, right? That whatever is going on, they're moved to the tears, right? The body can't contain whatever's going on for them. And it silently gives everyone else permission to finally exhale, right? To finally stop pretending that they don't also have tears, to finally feel, to finally allow them to come, to make space for someone else's healing to begin. That's the nourishment, right? They are drinking of your tears. They're the butterfly that comes, you're the turtle crying. They're the butterfly that comes along to drink your tears, to be nourished. What we release becomes someone else's sustenance. So stop apologizing, please. Don't make me get the flying monkeys. Don't hold them back. My tears are generosity in motion. My tears are generosity in motion. So how do you live that? how do you be the turtle and the butterfly? Well, be willing to let yourself feel. We have stories. We carry stories that says to cry is, like I said before, is a sign of weakness or failure or the amount of doubt that goes on inside and the stories we tell ourselves like, aren't I over this by now? Well, clearly not. If there's still tears that the body wants to release, then clearly you're not. And is there some sort of time limit to being over something? No, no, there isn't. I tell people all the time, I heal at the speed of Kelly. I heal at the speed of Kelly. Cheryl heals at the speed of Cheryl. Heather heals at the speed of Heather. Elizabeth heals at the speed of Elizabeth. And no one gets to decide what that speed is. And you don't have to speed it up or slow it down. You just have to let it be what it is. So allow yourself to feel. Let the tears come. Let your grief, your exhaustion, the longing, sometimes it's tears for longing. Let them have their way with you for a while. It's okay. You're not going to stay stuck there. When you pray, if you journal or you sit in the silence or you walking meditation, whisper to yourself, even my tears are holy. My tears are holy because they are. They cleanse our consciousness. They soften what's been hardened. They open us to new life. They nourish another. Back in the end of November, my mom died, and I knew she was going to die. She'd been sick for a while, and we were very close. Um, it's one of the hardest things I've ever done. And then 2 weeks later, my best friend died. And then I thought, okay, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. And then 2 weeks later, I had major surgery on my knee. So in this 6 week, 7 week time period, I had a lot of tears. I still have a lot of tears. Every day, I miss my mother. Every day, I miss my best friend. And I know that these tears are sustenance for someone else. I know that someone else is going to feed on those. Grief is a spiritual practice. It goes the way it goes. I don't need to stuff it down. I actually need to be in the motion of it. So I be the butterfly, right? You can be the butterfly. If I'm here crying, you be the butterfly. So sometimes the call is not to weep, but to witness, right? To witness, to draw near to someone else's sorrow, not to fix it, but to honor it, not to run away from it like, ooh, I'm going to get uncomfortable if I'm around their sorrow, right? The butterflies don't demand that the turtles stop crying. But, a butterfly doesn't come down and go, oh, okay, I'm uncomfortable. You've shed enough tears. Let's stop, right? No, they don't demand the turtle stop crying. They simply receive what's been offered. They simply move into drinking, right? The nourishment. That's compassion. So when someone around you is in pain, please resist the urge to offer advice or some kind of silver lining, some kind of metaphysiling them. Just zip it. Just be quiet. Just be present. Remind yourself. And you can even say it out loud. I see your pain. I don't need to make it smaller. I'll just stay right here. I'll just stay right here. That's it. That's being the butterfly. Just feeding on truth. There's no illusion. Tears are truth. And then you be both. Some days we're the turtle, some days we're the butterfly, some days we're both. That's what your spiritual community is for. That sacred exchange. Your tears are not for nothing. Your tears are not for nothing. They're living waters that keep compassion flowing through the world. They feed another. My tears of sorrow. When I think about my mother, that she would have been here, right? Whenever I was speaking somewhere, I would send her, the Zoom link, and she very often would come. And classes. I just finished a class yesterday, and she would have been there. And I want to pick up the phone and text. And I do. I pick up the phone and go, oh, yeah, no, not today. Um, so feed on my tears. It's nourishment for you. And remember, my tears are generosity in motion. Say that for yourself. My tears are generosity in motion. Let's flip this to they're fabulous, they're holy, they're one of the greatest gifts I can give to the world. Stop swallowing them. Stop telling yourself someone's going to be uncomfortable. If someone around you is uncomfortable because of your tears, okay, I won't say it, but go somewhere else. Give me a call. Move away from them. Find someone who's willing to be present, right? My tears are generosity in motion. Let's take that into meditation. Let's reflect on that for a few minutes. Take a breath. You can have your eyes open, you can have them closed. You might want to lower your gaze. I often do. I have a candle in front of me and I love to stare at the flame. So take a breath and then another one and let your shoulders drop. Let your whole body just drop into whatever you're sitting on, a chair, a mattress, the floor, whatever. Let your jaw soften. Let your heart loosen its grip. Take another breath. And then bring to mind a time when tears came easily. Not the kind that you fought back, that you tried to keep to yourself. No, no, I can do this alone. I don't want somebody else to see my tears. I want to see your tears. Bring to mind a time when your tears came easily, that they just rose from somewhere deep within. The tears that say, I'm still alive. And feel that memory in your body. Let it move through the body. Notice the warmth behind your eyes. Notice the ache in the throat, the river that wants to move through you. It could be right now. Every tear that has ever fallen from your eyes is proof of your connection to the world. It's proof that you care enough to feel, that love still matters enough to move you. Tears are release, not weakness. They are generosity in motion. The flow of life is giving itself away again and again and again. Every drop is feeding a heart somewhere. Could be someone you'll never meet. Whisper softly to yourself, my tears are generosity in motion. My tears are generosity in motion. In this holy circulation, nothing is wasted, ever. Grief becomes grace, loss becomes connection, and tears are the river that carry us all back to love. So take one more deep breath. And as you exhale, imagine that your breath joins with the wind and your tears join with the ocean. And when you're ready, on your time, when you're ready, open your eyes and remember that your tears feed the world. And so it is. Amen.